So another thing I want to say about change management is that to me, what works best is when you make it bigger. So, like for example, she's trying to stop smoking. I say make it bigger. Don't make the whole focus stop smoking. Make the focus like you're aiming for extreme vitality in your life. And so what that means is that's something that's gonna change. Because when you're aiming for that, then that will change, and other things will change too. So what it does is it broadens the spectrum of what it is you're trying to do. It broadens your focus. So you'll hit that, and you'll hit some other things too. So, and I guess that's why I do it in the context why I think change management, you do well to do it in the context of, let me say, like a prayer cycle, where you're not just trying to change one thing, but you really are working to elevate your life overall. And so what you're doing is you're being specific about what that looks like. You're being specific about what you're wanting to do and why you're wanting to do it. So, so now I think you're more effective. You ever hear that phrase, reach for the moon? So even if you miss, you're still among the stars. The other thing is I typically, if I am working to affect change in some way, I take a multi-pronged approach. I don't just, approach it from one angle or another angle, because most things are not one-dimensional. So, like we were talking about smoking cigarettes, for example, it's not just the act of, going to buy them and puffing on them. It's emotional. It's something, you feel something before you do that. You're feeling something while you're doing it. You're thinking something in the context of that. So when I'm saying take a multi-pronged approach, I'm saying consider all of those things. Because when you don't consider all of those things, then one of those things can undermine you didn't consider. It's a phrase in the book The Art of War. It's easy to take advantage of those who have not thought ahead. So if you think about that in the context of spiritual warfare, it's the same thing. So like, where a thought that you'll have or a feeling that you have will come up, and it triggers you. You haven't thought about the fact that it might come up, or what to do when it comes up. And so then you can get hijacked. So your progress on that thing suffers. And you wonder why you keep relapsing and you keep going back, because you haven't really considered everything. So Eckhart Tolle talks about pain bodies. And, you can talk about the same thing in different ways. Somebody else might say they're your demons, right? And so there are those things like something will happen and it can create that pain body. But those get fed. And so they are, if you think about it, let's think about it as a spirit. And it's one that's there and it wants to be fed. And so what'll happen is you will create, I'm going to say you, but we could say it, whatever. Situations and circumstances will come about that will serve to feed it, right? But it really depends on how you're responding to it. If you are, you're hurt by it, and then when you continue to express it, and then act out, and then you create even more pain, all of that feeds that pain body. And so the bigger it becomes, the more it wants to be fed, and the more your life situations and circumstances, opportunities come about for it to be fed. So that's a whole study in and of itself, but that's why it's important to use a multi-pronged approach. So, I hadn't thought about actually talking about it like that. But it's the same thing, which is why you need a larger scope and a larger view. And when I've been studying narcissism, narcissistic abuse, and I've been studying it from a number of different perspectives. So for a while, I was really studying its effect on the victim. Then I really started studying who is the narcissist. What's up with them? How do they think? How do they really think about things? Are we making assumptions? So I found videos from those people who are recovering who will talk about it, and abusers. So that's been really helpful. What I haven't started to do is look up narcissistic parents, because that's who creates the narcissistic children. What does that look like? So and the effects that they're having on their children, and what they're thinking, and how they're looking at parenting style. So that's another example of when you're looking at something. I say it's important to look at it from a number of different perspectives. That's the way that you get like the depth and breadth of understanding about the thing. Because otherwise you got a little information, but it's not necessarily informing how you move forward. And the thing about real learning is that it changes your behavior. It changes how you move. And so that's when I'm learning something, I try to learn it to that point where I'm actually starting to move differently. So when when you get to that point, that change is not a struggle. You're not struggling with it. You're not like, oh God, you're not white knuckling your way through the thing. It just becomes a natural progression, which brings me back to the thing of, change doesn't happen overnight. It's a progress. It's a process. So there's a natural progression that can happen. So for me, what I'm really good at and interested in, and I'll say that I've mastered because I'm always and have always had to deal with it, have been interested in it, it's a part of my personality, is mastering that process of change, mastering how to manage it, managing the process of change. So now I see, that's why I was so interested when we went to, when it was time for me to pursue my master's degree. I planned on getting a master's degree in education. And I did get a master's degree in education, but the first one was in organizational management and leadership, because that's what I really love. I love management. I love creating systems. A system really works for me. And leadership and leading those processes. So I'm really good at, if I'm gonna have a group of people that I have to lead through something, I'm good at creating a system and also managing the people in that context, because I get that clear expectations need to be outlined. I understand group dynamics, and I know how to make those work so that we're all moving in a direction, and everybody is on board and things are flowing smoothly. I'm good at also, as things come up, I can adapt to it. Things are constantly changing. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't faze me. I just, move to the next thing and go, okay, well, we can adjust right here. So,